Every time I see such stories of a 1 billion sale of a player, I ask myself, where is the game of football going? If certain clubs are going in for just 2 billion, can a single player go for 1 billion? Now, the agent of Haaland has come out and really broken silence on how much his player is valued. And she's saying $1 billion sale. €1 billion sale. That's what he's saying about. So Phil Foden has been warned by the Manchester City manager, that is Pep Guardiola, that you need to pull up your stockings. For all, you have to make it into my starting 11. And always welcome to Rokani Media Football. How are you guys? And where are you watching us from? Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, lower right bottom corner, that's the place to be. And smash that black button that has the word subscribe. After smashing it, hit the notification bell that will enable you get notified every time I upload a video onto this channel. Now, Gvardiol, the Croatian centre-back playing at Leipzig, has spoken on his next move and where he wants to be. And Premier League clubs, you should just prepare your money, because this is his next move. And no doubt, after that admission that every player now fancies to play in the Premier League, that's why you see the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona are working hard to bring in the Super League. Now, this is what we are going to start with. It's all about Haaland's agent. She has gone out and really said the following. She's known as Rafaela Pimenta. Erling Haaland is now worth 1 billion. I'm serious. I'm sure this is the value of the player, he told Telefoot. And for Verratti's future, it's impossible to imagine Verratti in another club. It's just PSG for him. Impossible. He loves PSG. Now, let's talk about the 1 billion Haaland sale. That blows my mind out of proportion. Talking about selling a player 1 billion. 1 billion. I don't think in this era, but in the next 1 decade, it might be possible. But in the era of Erling Haaland, it's not going to be possible. And why this is going to be impossible is simple. Haaland is not scoring in goals like he was when the season was starting. He's missing out on sitters. And secondly, when you look at how the modern play is, very few coaches will like to integrate Haaland in their team. That's it. Because he does nothing apart from scoring. That's why nowadays you see to it that Pep is trying to teach him to get involved into play, like putting in assists, be part of the build-up play, playing with his back to goal, because every time you are not going to be scoring goals. By the time he came in at Man City, he was an orthodox number 9, get him those chances and he buries them in. Now, teams have gone ahead to find a solution for him. There is the way they mark him out, and obviously he fails to score, and he's frustrated to an extent that even over the weekend on Saturday, he missed out on 2-3 sitters when he only had a net to beat sometimes. I think this statement comes out at a very bad period. If at all the agent came out and really said Haaland is for 1 billion, at the beginning of the season when he scored close to 17 goals, when he had only played 14 games in the Premier League, that would have been okay. But right now, he's really having a turmoil, and he's having a worst spell of his life in his footballing career. And I think this just piles more pressure onto the player as far as the agent's speech is concerned. But for the sale of 1 billion, I won't be surprised, because the transfer of Neymar to PSG blew everyone's mind away. That's it, because this player left for 200 million euros. And by the time Barcelona thought that no one would trigger that buyout clause, because the buyout clause they had put in for Neymar was 200 million euros. And PSG came in through and said, we are paying that amount of money. Neymar went crazy because of the financial offers that were given to him, and he left. But for a billion purchase of a player, to me, I believe we are still far away from that. I think a decade from now, it will be possible. You get? But I think now the normal that doesn't shock people is 100 million euros. 200 million euros is really far off the mark. And for a player to go for 200 million euros needs to be far much special from all the specimens playing the game of football. Look at Enzo Fernandez. He went in for 100 and 30 million euros from Benfica. So most of the quality players that you're going to see are really going to be going in for 150 million euros, most 200 million euros. But for a player to go for €1 billion, I think the agent was blowing his own trumpet. And to me, I believe she's just piling pressure onto Erling Haaland, because apart from scoring goals, what else does Haaland has to do on the game that will make him really be good? That's why people fancy Kylian Mbappe ahead of him, because Mbappe does a lot. He's a goal machine. He plays well. He runs. He takes off players. That's a very good skill set. And there are things that you won't learn in your grown-up age. Haaland won't learn to take off players. The only thing that Pep Guardiola should go ahead and really teach him is really getting involved into play, like he did when he was creating that second goal for Man City against Aston Villa. That's it. But the rest of the business, I don't see him really finding himself to that level of being a €1 billion player, because there are very many people that are really coming in through that are really doing more than what he does on the game of football. For example, look at Marcus Rashford and the form he's really having. You get? Look at Victor Osimhen. Which other player? Look at Benjamin Šeško, because Benjamin Šeško, however much people misquoted him and called him the new Haaland, I believe he's more than what they call the new Haaland. He's a more better player. His skill set is great. His composure is out of this world. And I think for him, his ceiling is really way higher than that of Haaland, because he's a goal machine and he's a striker. And there are very many good strikers all over the world that are really coming up, that are really doing and putting in numbers that are really ridiculous, that could go for that amount of money that Haaland is being talked about. After this, let's talk about Phil Foden. Pep Guardiola has been asked about Phil Foden and why he has not been playing the recent games. He has been making it to the bench, and obviously sometimes not making it to the pitch. But over the weekend, he gave him his start, I think, in the last how many games? Are they 6, 7? And he said the following, that Phil Foden has to compete with Riyad Mahrez, who is playing really well, and other players. It's a competition. What I have to say is not be frustrated. It's perform as best as possible. After that, it will be easy. And obviously, any elite manager does this. Managers like Pep Guardiola, Eric Ten Hag, Mikel Arteta a little bit, just pick you on merit, not on favoritism. I support Manchester United. I fell a victim for this under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Solskjaer picked players because he loved them. He loved them. You get? The most evident example was between Harry Maguire and Eric Bailly. Harry Maguire injured out. Eric Bailly comes in through, puts in some good, fantastic performances, and when Harry Maguire returns, he plays him instantly. Axel Tuanzebe, we go to PSG. Axel Tuanzebe pockets Neymar and Kylian Mbappe. The next weekend, he's not given a goal. You get? That is favoritism, and such managers cannot see themselves stay long onto their job. That's it. That's why he was sacked, because favoritism costed him the game of Leicester City and Watford. He stuck with Harry Maguire, and Harry Maguire led to the sacking of that manager. So Pep Guardiola is right that Phil Foden has to compete with Riyad Mahrez, and I believe the change of Riyad Mahrez not to start in the game over Nottingham was called for, because in the game of Arsenal, Riyad Mahrez was nowhere to be seen. So the manager needed to make changes. And obviously, Phil Foden came in through and really played very, very well. And I really liked the way he really went ahead to play in that beautiful game of football as far as that game was concerned. But he missed out on a sitter. And I think it was the keeper to beat. He tried to pass it to Haaland instead of going to goal. He tried to pass it to Haaland and passed it wide. But I believe Phil Foden is a very good player. And however much the manager has indicating that, I doubt his say on the other side, because there are a lot of uncertainties in the dressing room of Man City. That's it. That's why you saw to it that the likes of Joao Cancelo left at a very critical period of the season, because if you are chasing for the trophy and you want to win the Premier League, you can't choose Lico Lewis ahead of Cancelo. Because Hamidis, however much Cancelo wanted to leave, you would have told him, give me these remaining months. We end the season, I'll let you go. I'll sell you. But that means it was inevitable. It was something emergency that it couldn't wait. That's what it means. And there is a lot of drama into that dressing room of Man City that has seen players leave and causing the results on the field of play. And when you see how Man City is really playing this season, it shows you that there are a lot of uncertainties in that dressing room, though it's really in the hands of Pep Guardiola and nothing is leaking to the media. But I believe there is something that is not going on well that has really resulted into those players coming out loud to say that we don't want to be here. Because if you are Cancelo, benching you because you're not performing well cannot put you out of order. That's it. Benching you cannot put you out of your senses and say, all right, I'm not going to do ABCD again. You get? Because I believe any player, when he's not performing very well, when he's benched, you understand and know, I just have to go ahead and really raise up my performances. But there is something that's going in the dressing room of Man City, dressing room of Liverpool, that will soon leak and will let you know it here onto the Rokani Media Football. And lastly, Gvardiol, I think is 21 years of age, playing for Leipzig, has gone ahead and hinted about his next move. He has said, I want to play in the Premier League one day. I knew that I needed to take a few steps more before, but I really want to play there, he has told Time Sports. At the end, Leipzig is really good club and I feel good here for you. So he's confirmed us that he wants to go to the Premier League. And what does this mean to teams like Real Madrid that are really interested in him? Because Madrid really needs him. They need a defender like him. Gvardiol, left-footed, very good. Though people went ahead to slate him when Messi really went past him and scored and created that second goal they scored against Croatia. But that doesn't deny you a fact that this guy is really one of the best players we've seen in his age. He's one of the most valuable defenders, all top 5 defenders in the world, as released by the ratings. Him, Saliba, who else? Him, Saliba, is it Konate? There are 5 in that age. And most of them, their age bracket is between 20 and 23. So it shows you how good that player is. But Liverpool in the Premier League is one of those that is really adding Gvardiol. Chelsea is also eyeing Gvardiol. And which other team is eyeing Gvardiol? I think those are the 2 teams in the Premier League adding Gvardiol. But he went ahead and really confirmed that since his childhood, he has been supporting Liverpool. He's a Liverpool fan. And he was like sending a message to Jurgen Klopp that, please, if you want me to come to the Premier League, I'm ready. And when you look at Liverpool, their season had really turned out to be worse. And we thought that they wouldn't go in the Champions League. But looks like they are back to winning ways. And they are just now like 7 points off the top 4 spots. And with close to 14 games to go, I believe they can close in and make the Champions League. Because if they don't make the Champions League, it will be hard for them to sign Jude Bellingham and Gvardiol. But if at all they make the Champions League, that means they are going to be expecting some good money from the Champions League. Then Jurgen Klopp has been promised a budget of £300 million. Now, on £300 million, if at all you sign Gvardiol at 100 million, like at £80 million, you sign in Jude Bellingham at 120 million pounds, that means you're left with £80 million to spend. Not so? So, if you bring in Jude Bellingham, you would have reinforced the midfield, and Gvardiol, you would have really gone ahead to reinforce your central defense, meaning that the likes of Joel Matip might find themselves out of this club because Joe Gomez is tied on a 5-year contract. Virgil van Dijk is still here, and Konate, meaning that Liverpool will be having 4 good central defenders in Gvardiol, Virgil van Dijk, Konate, and Gomez. For Chelsea, I don't see them making it to the Champions League. I don't see it making the Champions League. And over much they're having the money, it's going to be hard for them to sign players in the summer when they're competing on with them, with teams playing in the Champions League. So guys, thank you very much for watching him through. Tell me your thoughts about 1 billion Haaland sell. Would you fancy it? Is the agent just carried away, all of excited? Then Phil Foden being won by Pep Guardiola. What are your thoughts about it? And lastly, Gvardiol indicating that he would love to play to the Premier League. And which Premier League team do you think is Gvardiol going to be playing for? Because he has gone ahead and said he loves Liverpool, and Liverpool has shown interest into this Croatian 21-year-old international who plays on the left side of the central defense. May the Almighty God bless you abundantly. I sign out for now. See you later, my lovely mates.